Yo, 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 guys, what's up? How you guys doing? All right. I just wanted to talk about something, okay? Like, um, so I was watching uh, this, this movie. It was about Joseph and his 11 brothers. I think he was the 12th brother. So, or he could have been the 12th, if I'm wrong. Or I mean, he could have been. It could have been 12 altogether, if I'm not mistaken. Um. Anyways, Joseph was. Um. Joseph had a dream. Okay. Joseph had a dream. Okay. Um. He had a dream that everyone in like all his brothers uh would one day bow down to him. Okay, and it was just a dream, right? It was a dream. Like he was sleeping and he woke up, and like that was that. And he just told his brothers, and he told his father, and his father used to have dreams as well. His father was um, a man who truly loved Joseph. Okay, um, Joseph was the youngest son before Joseph's father had another son. So like, people were upset that Joseph's father liked Joseph more than them, right? So, after Joseph told them this dream that he had, right? People thought he was crazy. Um, people, his brothers, became envious and jealous of him because of the dream. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna be bowing down to you one day, type stuff. And he was like, it's just a dream, like you don't have to take it seriously. It was just a dream. But they took it very seriously. They took it very serious. And so Joseph's father sent the rest of the sons out on a mission, a journey for say, to I think to go and get some food. They had to travel by horse, and so they did. They didn't come back in the time that Joseph's father thought that they were supposed to be back. So Joseph took it upon himself to go search for them, right? Um, and Joseph's father really didn't want him to go search for them because he thought that he wouldn't come back. Okay. Joseph's father knew that the brothers did not like Joseph, even though they were brothers, because of the jealousy and the hate and the envy of just Joseph being himself. Okay. So Joseph went out to look for them by himself. Okay. And he found them. As he was approaching them, Joseph's brothers devised a plan to get rid of him. Okay. So they wanted to kill Joseph at first. Okay. But then one of the brothers was like, no, that's not good. Like, he's our brother. And how would father feel about that if we killed our own brother, you know? So they threw him down a well, okay? They threw him down a water well. which was empty. And they left him down there for a couple hours. One of the brothers went into a city nearby, a little town nearby, to get some more supplies. And he's like, let Joseph out when I get back, okay? Like, we can't keep him in there. Like, this is wrong. But if you guys want payback, just to make him like learn a lesson about like talking crazy about his dreams, then go ahead. Okay, so they left him down there for a couple hours. So while they were doing that, they devised another plan when the other brother left into the little town. And they devised a plan to sell their brother as a slave so that they would never have to deal with Joseph ever again, and his mouth and his his dreams and his like authenticity, right? So before the other brother got back from the nearby town, they managed to get two human slave dealers or traders to buy Joseph. Okay, so as the other brother approached from out of the inner town, Joseph was being sold. So they pulled him out of the well. Joseph was like, "What's going on? Like, why'd you guys leave me down there?" And the traders were giving Joseph's brother silver coin, and Joseph was being tied up and being hauled away on a carriage. Okay, so they got to go home with silver in their pocket and to tell their father that Joseph had died. Okay, the story was because Joseph's father gave Joseph a brand new like cloak. It was like a cloak. It had a bunch of colors on it. It looked better than all of his brothers did, and it was a unique cloak. And it was all ripped up and torn up, like as if an animal had like got to Joseph. So that's the story that they came up with, which was like, okay, an animal kind of like tore Joseph apart. Okay. And the father was like sad. He was upset. But he kind of got over it because they had a newborn little brother as well now. So another younger brother was involved in the picture. This was the youngest after Joseph, okay? So while that younger brother was growing, Joseph was imprisoned as a slave. Joseph was a slave, and Joseph had worked his way into being a part of what was that? He had worked into being a part of like a council for the pharaohs, like the higher ups and stuff, because he could interpret dreams. Joseph could interpret dreams, and the pharaohs wanted to know how he could get his dreams interpreted, because the pharaoh had asked the magicians and sorcerers if they could interpret his dreams, and they couldn't. So Joseph did, and Joseph, I think he was enslaved twice, because the first time he was enslaved, the Pharaoh's wife tried to sleep with him, and Joseph denied her offer. And so the Pharaoh's wife told the Pharaoh, and Joseph had ran away then he had got caught, which was innocent, but he had still got caught, and then he got imprisoned again, where in this prison he told two men their dreams. He interpreted two of their dreams, okay, and they were both true. And he had asked one of the men to promise him that when he gets out of the jail cell and back into the town where because he was part of the Pharaoh's kingdom, and he was the person that served the Pharaoh's wine with the goblet, okay? And so he said, okay, I will fulfill your promise if your interpretation is correct. And his interpretation was correct. And about 2 years had passed, and the man that had got released, he had finally talked to the Pharaoh. He said, he's like, I can't hold my tongue anymore. I have to tell you about this man who can interpret dreams. Because another Pharaoh, so this was the second Pharaoh, and he said, I want my dreams interpreted. And he said, I know a man in jail, enslaved, who interpreted my dream, and my dream came true. And so they cleaned up Joseph. They washed him, took him, shaved him and stuff like that, brought him in front of the Pharaoh, and he interpreted the Pharaoh's dream. And he also knew how to read, write, and do all these things that other slaves couldn't do. And he helped the Pharaoh grow the kingdom and see things that the Pharaoh couldn't see. And so the Pharaoh hired him as basically his best man. And he was basically like the commander of the whole entire Egypt right there. It was in Egypt, so he was basically the ruler, the second in command ruler under the Pharaoh. And Joseph's brother, see, this is the crazy part about the story, that's why I'm telling you guys. Joseph's brother, right, his brothers, the ones who basically looked down upon him and threw him in a well, talked crap about him, sold him as a slave, and told people that he was dead. They came to the Pharaoh's palace to buy food. And the commander-in-chief, which was Joseph, second in command, he comes out. They don't notice him as Joseph because he's covered with he's covered with Egyptian clothing, and he has a different name as well. The Pharaoh has given him a different name now, so he goes by a different name and he dresses differently, but he still knows who his brothers are, and his brothers don't notice him. So they come into the Pharaoh's palace to buy food, and he says, you guys are spies, and he throws them in jail, right? So the little brother, the youngest brother, younger than Joseph, is at home with father in the village still. Only the elder brothers came to get the food, the ones that did these terrible things to Joseph. So while they're in jail, Joseph devises a plan as a lesson. He says, only one of you guys, one of you guys are going to stay here in jail, and the others of you guys are going to go and get your youngest brother, and you're going to bring him here to trade him for this prisoner. So he lets them all go. He keeps the one that he basically keeps the most evilest brother in there. And all the brothers were like, well, we got to get our brother out of here. Like, we can't see him in here like this and stuff like that. So they all leave with the food that they had come to get. The money that they spent to get the food was put back into their bags. So basically they didn't have to pay anything to buy the food, which was under Joseph's command. And so they leave and come back to the village. And the village and the father, he says, like, you can't, like, you guys are not going to take my youngest son. Joseph is already dead, so you're not going to take my youngest son, okay? And so, like, so I think, like, maybe 2 weeks had passed by, and the father finally made the decision to get the other brother out. So they sent the little brother with the elder brothers to get the other brother out of jail. As they approached, they were like, they thought that the Pharaoh would get mad because they had the money that they had spent to get the food. The money was still in their bag, so they had like apologized because they thought that they were gonna be stealing, or they had stole their things and stuff like that, their money. And it's like, no, you guys didn't steal it. Like, that money is for you, you know. So he brought them in the palace. He looks his little brother in the eye, the little brother he hasn't seen in like so long, since he was still a baby, but now he's like mature, and he's like, he knows stuff, but he doesn't know that Joseph is alive. He doesn't know that that's his brother standing in front of him, giving orders to an entire kingdom. So Joseph like tells them, hey, you guys sit down, we're about to feast, we're gonna eat food and things like that. So they did. They sat down, they feasted, and then they had left. The other brother had got, taken out of, he had got out of jail and stuff. So after they had all eaten together, they had left, and Joseph had put a piece of the Pharaoh's like artifacts in some of the rice, and just this was like a plan devised so he could capture them again. So he told his security, he told them to go arrest them because they had stolen something. But this was also a part of the lesson. So before they left the kingdom, the security stopped them. They arrested all of them and brought them into Joseph's palace. And this is where Joseph basically wanted his brothers to express themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you guys, like, what happened to your other brother and things like that? And like, they started saying like, we didn't do this, we're good people, we wouldn't steal from you and stuff like that. And Joseph started having flashbacks about like how not so good that they are as people. They're just like sitting there lying to him. And like basically Joseph took off his not disguise, but his Egyptian clothing. and he says like, I'm your brother. And they all started looking like, crying, looking down, like bowing to him, like saying that they're sorry. And then the younger brother, he's like, so you mean this is our brother, Joseph? And they're like, they're kind of silent. It's like, I thought you were dead, you know what I mean? Like, and then Joseph's like, you guys had told everyone that I was dead and stuff like that. And it's like, his dream he basically interpreted his own dream. And his own dream came alive in front of the people that had like tried to destroy him from the beginning, which were his brothers. And he said like, it's okay, you guys, like, you guys are my brothers, so come and give me a hug. And he gave them all a hug, and he grabbed everyone from his village and brought them to Egypt, or brought them into the palace next door to the palace, where they lived like a better life. And it was a crazy story, like the wisdom that comes from a story like that. It's like, people should not harm people in such ways, because like, you never know why, and when Joseph was sitting in when he was a slave for all of that time, he was a slave for a long time. While he was a slave, he understood that these things had happened to him for a reason, and they had happened for him so that he could become the second in command under the Pharaoh to Egypt. You know what I mean? And he learned discipline. He learned like to not to react towards things. He learned like how to be loyal by not sleeping with the Pharaoh's wife. He learned like so many things, right? And finally, he learned forgiveness for the treachery that his brothers put him through, just for a dream that he had that actually came true. But anyways, that's all that I have for you guys, This was like very enlightening for me. I'm not religious, but this was a religious story. And, Joseph as a being definitely inspired lots of people to, to overcome things that people put him through. And I think that's the key thing about it, That's the spiritual effect of it. And I don't think I'll ever be able to find a movie like that again, or a story like that again. That really triggered me into a different kind of mindset, and allowed me to be more of myself than anything. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in with your big bro, Only the Realist. And I hope that you guys are all doing great out there. And I'll see you next time.